Hello, everyone. Just a surprise. Actually, this might be fairly, not say long, but somewhat involved. Explanation or verification and kind of standing your ground for those who experience trauma in this incarnation, whether you're from another place, a visitor, or whether you experienced it when you came here to Earth. I don't think there's enough vindication or awareness or just standing witness to the horrors that were unleashed upon people here, not only amongst just regular Terrans existing, just existing amongst them, but if you were in any of the Milab, MKUltra, secret space programs, those kinds of things. So I ended up having a very late night. So that's why I'm going to. Yeah, Eeka and I were talking till like 1 a.m. and I get up at 5:30. So it was yeah, a little bit of a long process. I kept telling him like, oh my God, I'm like, it's 12:50. I gotta go to bed. And he's still talking. And I'm like, so I realized he had some things that's not actually we were just talking about a lot of what's happening on this planet right now. And I'm gonna have him do a question and answer actually. Um as best as he can in a bit. But this one is really about, a lot of the baloney and a lot of the shaming and a lot of the unprecedented, and it's been for a while, attacks on victims, basically. And I don't like to use the word victim, and it's just easy to say that. I mean, it's someone who's been abused by someone else, or by a group, or by a government, or whatever. It's sort of like I almost feel like now no one wants to kind of deal with this, and it makes it very difficult for people who were unfortunately subjected to this kind of horrific treatment. And for those of us in this arena, any horrific treatment, but for those of us in the alien ET arena, liberation of Earth thing, ours was mostly not only from our families, those people are around us, but those people who've been targeted, those people who had been mind controlled to attack us all along the way. And then, of course, for those who are in the MyLabs and the other types of things where, open trauma-based abuse was unfurled upon you as a child, at a very young age. So this trauma, absolutely derails, which is the whole point of it, your entire life. And I'm just going to kind of talk about some of the things I have dealt with, what's been next to me, what's been done to me. And I think it's important for people to say that, this is the stuff that's been done to you with the specific goal being to fracture, traumatize, and destroy you, to make you incapable of fully being sound of mind and body. Let's just say that, right? Yeah. So I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit. And this kind of thing also happened to visitors. They traumatized them as well. And a lot of the visitors were traumatized watching you so it was like a trauma bond. They were watching you get traumatized. So those of you who are in contact with your family, it doesn't have to be a spouse. It can be just be a mother or father, it could be children you have upstairs or whatever, friends. They saw you get traumatized and they're trauma bonded as well. I don't know who brought this idea that somehow off-planet people are different from us, because they're not. I wish I didn't have to do AI to show you what Eeka looks like, because he looks just like a man, a regular guy. I see him up close, and I, he's a man, right? So they're not any different, and they've been through hell, if not directly, but most have been, but through us, watching what's been done to us. And of course, all the really almost psychotic lies that they've been told as well. So there's layers and layers of this. But moving forward, I think, begins with standing up for yourself and fighting back against all the love and light baloney, and that, it's all dichotomy. If you start to break down the love and light bullshit, it's all dichotomy. Now, that's not to say that, we all have work to do with ourselves. We do. All upstairs certainly does. And It's always nice to try to improve. It's very difficult to struggle and strive to heal yourself from trauma, whatever that trauma is. And for most of us, that's probably been going on for many decades, unrelenting. So it's a lot. It's death by a thousand. That's the old story. Right? That's pretty much what happened to us. So I want to just kind of bring out what might be some of the more common things, as opposed, I mean, there's obviously the physical trauma that people experienced as well. But that usually what these people would do is combine psychological attacks with chemicals, with psychotropic drugs, with physical violence, with having you watch trauma, having you engage in trauma, having you kill, having you do all kinds of crazy things like that. As a child, and again, for as long as it occurred in your life, through these programs. And these things are life-changing. And it's for most of us, because of the mind wipes, we're not aware of them and what they did to us. And you just then you went out into regular illusion life, 3D, 4D. There's no 3D, 4D bullshit life here, and you then get attacked again, right? So there was no safe place for many of us. Our family may not have been a safe place. School was not a safe place. Work was not a safe place. There was no safe place. Probably relationships were not a safe place. Those of you who could have relationships, but I do want to kind of just lean into what I experienced, not because I want to talk about what I experienced, but I think it's just going to be kind of a grid or a framework that might begin to hopefully give you some solutions, or at least give you some explanations, or a new way of looking at the violence that you were subjected to. So I have extreme physical and emotional debilitations that were put upon me. So like I can't be touched. I have a fear of human voices. I can't be in crowds. I've always felt like there was a weird spotlight on me. Of course, I was being watched by the deep state, so it's like, I've always had really intense types of experiences around humans. And it never made sense, obviously. But now it does. So one of the main things they did to me was screaming at me, like mental type. So they would drug you and electrocute you and all kinds of things, but they would like shame me, and just scream at me, the kind of stuff where it's, the kind of things where it's like, don't cry, we'll give you something to cry about, sort of like, no. So I ended up with an extreme version of learned helplessness, because no matter what I did, there was no way out. There was no stopping it. The more I had feelings, the more there was just pain. So I'm and it's interesting because a lot of people don't like, and those people who know me, they're like, yeah, I'm very, very weird. I'm very different because I don't have feelings, because I learned not to have feelings, that feelings were just dangerous. And certainly feelings like love, which were just became difficult as I began working more with Eeka, when he started to come back into my life, because he was the first time in my life that I ever really knew. I had no idea what love. To me, love was a dirty word. And they used manipulations of love. And I'm talking about that here. And this is probably going to resonate with a lot of people. So I never believed in love. I thought it was a joke. I thought people were just stupid who believed in that nonsense. And until I met him, and he actually showed me that this is such a thing. And I was really like shell shocked, basically. I was, it's just, it was just something I've never experienced before. And being with him, he could feel that I loved him, and he knew that, but it was just like, I guess, I don't know if shame is the word, but kind of like, I felt bad. I felt bad because I told him, it's like, I can't tell you I love you. And why is that? Why the word love to me is like a pain. It's like I recoil from it. It sickens me, actually. When people say I love you, or they mention love around me, I get physically ill. I like, it's just like it's almost the worst thing they could say to me. And don't forget about touching me and hugs and everything. That's like, to me, that's a physical assault. And Eeka and I have been going through very slow process of desensitizing me to these different feelings. So why does love make me recoil? Why does the word like literally make me physically ill? When people say they love me, all I do is feel like it just like opens up an empty feeling inside me, this really dark, empty feeling, almost like they slapped my face. So for those who might experience something similar to this, it's because we were, well, not only amongst humans, but I mean, it's because whenever the word love was used around us, either it was in part of a trauma bond or violence against us, it's because love that they were using and trying to show us was not love. It was an act of violence. It was meant to intimidate us. It was meant to control us. It was meant to manipulate us. It was like they held a gun to us, basically, right? Or it was used in a perverted, distorted sense. So love was used as a programming, and we learned to associate it with negative things, control, fear, abandonment, the potential to us being attacked, that if we showed vulnerability, they would try. So we would be tricked to show vulnerability. And I was tricked to show vulnerability by other people, by outside of the Milabs, as well as just in society, as a child, where like, if I showed vulnerability, it would be used against me as a weapon in order to destroy me. Excuse me. So love was an act of invasion. It was bait, and it was used to ensnare, tease us, and erase us in the deepest place within us, the need for love. Essentially, it was like, you need love, but you'll never have it. And all you'll be given is emptiness and pain, and you must obey and be controlled because that's your only purpose. So what happens is, for people like us, is that you remember all of these things because they're the triggers, because it's a trap. And you know that there's a trap involved in these kind of situations. So we are recoiling not from what love is and what real love is, but from what the love we've been shown is. It's a weaponized, perverted, distorted control mechanism. So it becomes only that thing which brings pain, emptiness, and even danger. And we begin to learn that the beings, maybe parents, whatever, right, around us, were just playing games with us, to play with us, to toy with us, to control us, to betray us. And those people who say they loved you were just using it as a tool to use us, to exploit us. So when we hear this term, immediately our entire body resonates with the shame and the fear. Love means be quiet. Love means be small. Love means be what I want you to be, not what you are, because what you are is no good, and it cannot be, and it needs to be. In order for you to deserve existence, you must be what I tell you to be. So this command is what love is. Threat is what love is. So love was not sanctuary. Love was imprisonment. Love was death, the death of your soul, the death of who you were. So love became this absence of all that is good. It became that void, the pretender. But that's all we had for our entire life, for many of us. So it isn't because we're broken, which is what we lived with. I remember that's why I needed to remove myself from this planet, because I was a problem. I didn't deserve to be here. Obviously, I felt bad that other people had to deal with me. I felt my presence was a burden. And that I needed to remove myself because it just was wrong for me to be here. And everything I experienced in life around humanity, not the animals, but around humanity, was reiterating that I didn't deserve to be here. So when we start to see those distorted self-views that aren't distorted by you, you were told that, you were shown that everything in your life. So this isn't something you made up in your head. And this is the problem with that. I can't stand the fucking new age community and all these fucking love and light assholes out there. This was stuff you were told. This was not a lie you told yourself. This was a reality that you lived. And for you now to step forward and to turn the mirror away from you upon all the assholes that did this to you, whether it was the military, the government, your parents, relationships, whatever, whoever the hell it was, the bullies in school, I don't care who it was, all of them. Your pain is not yours, and it is not a sign of your failure. It is a bell ringing of all that is evil, of all that is counterfeit, of all that is fake. These were demons in your life. Now, granted, some were mind controlled, but to a kid, that didn't matter, really. When you're a little kid that was told, I don't care how much you cry, I'll give you something more to cry about, you learned helplessness. So when you've never felt real love, it really creates a path of broken shards for you. And for many of us, it only occurred when we met our extraterrestrial family. And they saw all that. They saw all that done to you, and it was done to them. Because when you watch someone you really love suffer, the trauma is there. It is a form of torture. So you will feel it when you telepath with real extraterrestrials, not these fakers and frauds and manipulated entities that you're probably going to see around. You need to find these yourself. You'll know, because you'll know this. You can't not know this love. It cannot be faked. And I know there's a lot of people out there that think this is a honeypot and that's some kind of like an alien love bite. It is not. If it is an alien love bite, it will not be love. You will know. That is not love. Nothing can mimic love. They've tried, but it always comes out as a negative frequency. It is no ego, and it's not a thing you earn, and it's not a thing that you're allowed to have once you fix yourself. So if anyone, a Terran or any other extraterrestrial, tells you you need to fix yourself to be worthy of being in their presence, you need to walk away, because that is danger. That is evil. That is not a benevolent. So when the frequency field is pure, you will feel love. Not that love of binding, not a love from a master, but it's going to be a love that says, I see you, I stand witness for you. I don't want to change you. I want you to be free in my presence. I am trust. I am vulnerable in front of you, and I will hold space for you. And I will be see-through for you. I will show you that there is no place in my being where I hide anything. So anyone who cannot be vulnerable in front of you, if you've been through trauma, that's a red flag. Because you deserve to see through someone. And that is what Eeka did. That was the first thing he did when he touched me. I saw through him. It's like he knew that I couldn't trust, because there was no one I could trust. And whenever we're together, he always does that. He always just opens right up, and I can see everything he's like I hide nothing. So that's what you want to look for. So when love is reversed, it takes time because it's hard for a child to understand this. And in this perversion and distortion of love and cosmic love or galactic love or Christian love or any kind of love, right? It's all been perverted. It's all been manipulated. So you need to stand up and declare all false forms of love are not allowed in my vicinity. I recall my body, mind, and soul from every one of these lies. I no longer reject real love, but I now understand what that is. And I reject all distortions that they call love. When within my body and mind and energy field, I feel that it is a distortion and not real love. Only the true frequency of love that does not judge is allowed in my presence. I do not need to earn it. I do not need a key. I do not need validation. Love is not a cage. I deserve love, real love, not manipulated love. So you have not been cold. You're not too far gone. You're not lost. In fact, you, through the trauma, have been shown how to unravel. Right now, you've been shown how to unravel these deep lies. And this sacredness of being, this sacredness of knowing that you now hold because you've been through the fire is what we need. So real love was stolen from you, but wisdom lays before you now. So whoever stole this from you, there are many places, and it can be from anyone in the Terran race that has done this to you, and many of them in mind control. But that I'm not making excuses for any of that. It's never okay to hurt someone, certainly a child. Or it may have come from the operators. These people who stole our souls from us. And sometimes they came forward as masked family members, as caregivers, as teachers, religious figures, bosses, friends, sisters, brothers, relations. And they told you that love meant obedience, right? Remember that? Do what your parents tell you so that you will earn their love because you are naturally born evil or whatever baloney the deep state, the darkness told you. Because everything in human society bombarded you with the idea that love was conditional. And these disclosure galactic people are telling you the same thing now, that love is conditional, that you need to be worthy of love, right? That you must perform. You must shrink and hide yourself. You must be small. You don't deserve certain contacts. You can't be talking to this person. They would never come to you. You don't see ships, all these kinds of things. This is all perversion. And that you must suffer to be closer to love. So all of this evil has been imprinted like a brand onto your body, onto your nervous system, into your mind, into your soul. It is a possession. And it feeds off you. And that's why they chose you, because you had so much to offer, to take. They don't go to weak people. They don't go to nasty people. They don't go to those people who are already tainted. They go to the pure. They go to the innocent because you have what they want. So they fed off your light and your love. They fed off your need for connection. They twisted all of that. And then they punished you for needing it, for not being right. And this is what the Milabs did. They work, and this is what the danger of the AI BCI stuff is that's coming in. What it's going to do, these chips, this is the mark of the beast. It's going to sever those Terrans that decide to take it from source. It's an engineered extraction into a transhuman realm. And many will take it. Many are already there. We in the Milabs and the MKUltras were the guinea pigs in this, and many of us have the chips. So they're going to hijack the hearts of humanity. They're going to sever them, as they already have pretty much done already, from source, from true love. Replacing this unconditional love resonance with emotional dependency on technology. And in fact, a lot of their emotions will be depleted at that point. So for those of us who've been the guinea pigs in these control arenas from the government and the military, they exploited our emotional dependency because everyone needs that, and that was exploited. The need of a child for love and someone to look up to. They used that and cracked it. And then they fashioned trauma bonds over the body of love and over your fractured soul. And they would also mess with your hormones and your, brain and control you that way. Of course, right? That's what they used on me. They're still using it, actually. That's how they get me, is through extreme despair, depression, and anhedonia. And they try to keep me in a state where I feel nothing. I can't see beauty. I can't feel love. I can't feel Eeka. I can't feel anything. They numb me out. That's what they do. So they would lie to us and trap us by artificial soul contracts, and then bind us in these contracts using things like trauma conditioning, the mind wipes that would happen all the time. And they try to sever us using technology, because we were the first guinea pigs, from ourselves, from our family, and from source, which they were very good at. They also use these frequency grids, which we're all familiar with, around the earth to continue bombarding us with low density frequencies to keep us in shame, guilt, fear, depression, all that, anxiety, the usual suspects. So they burned our heart field because they know if you began to remember or experience safety, trust, true love, you would become uncontrollable, and they couldn't feed off you. This also occurs for the visitors upstairs. They're also in these programs. I don't know who gave the idea that somehow life is great up there and that they're not going through any of this stuff. They absolutely are. And it's brutal. And many of these, including the higher councils and higher beings, actually, have been deceived because they've been told that love is order, is control, is separation, is doctrine, is philosophy, is ideology, is rules, and all that stuff. And it's not. It's the opposite of every single one of those things. So sanctioned separation, the idea of forced missions, the idea of fake contracts, the idea of contracts, the idea of the memory seals and memory wipes that convinced visitors and other beings, including the envoys, that sacrifice is noble. You'll hear that. I mean, you probably heard that, right? These numbskulls, telling you that sacrifice is noble? That's not love. Expecting you, demanding that you suffer is not love. Severing you from home, severing you from source, severing you from your powers, severing you from your family, from your children, from your spouses, from your moms and dads, from your brothers and sisters. Severing you from everything that says home is evil. It's for the mission. You'll get it later. We'll bring it back to you. They're evil. They fear you. They fear your, you know why you're not getting where are my powers? Because they fear you. If you get your powers back, they know they're fucked. Because they know we know what they did. They know we know who they are. And if we get our powers back, because right now we're safe. We're in prison right now. We're in jail. And they know that. They know they're safe as long as we're in prison. And they want to keep us here. But it's not going to happen because you know why? Your family is fighting for you now. The veil that they had blinded your family with has been lifted. You lifted it. We lifted it. And they're going to be the ones that free us. They claim, not your family, but these masters who claim to love you but they just feared your power. Those people who said they loved you, they use that as a control mechanism to guilt you into being their servant. But once you wake up to your sovereignty, to your truth, to who you really are, to your immense power, they fear you. And what they're going to try to do, as you see, is to try and diminish you, to make you self-doubt, to make you question yourself, to try to make you small. Anyone who tries to make you small, that is the enemy. It is so obvious. But these people, these beings, they could not fracture your signals, your sense of self, your downloads forever. They couldn't put a firewall around your ability to receive. And they could never, because you always knew, even though you convinced yourself otherwise, they could never simulate the emotions that they were force feeding you that were fake forever. Because you can't fake frequency. And even though a lot of times we can't feel it because we're under control, the real love is still there underneath all the pain, underneath all the fear, underneath all the recoil. When the word love makes your skin crawl, when the word love makes you want to throw up, real love is still there because its memory persists. And that's why the fake I love you hurts so much, makes you sick, because you know it's your soul, it's your body screaming at you. This is not real. And we're going to break through all this. So the Terrans, so the visitors that were compromised, so of course the military and the government, what they did to us was deliberate. Any parent who can hurt a child, any parent who can control and say that that's love and destroy a child from within, that's deliberate. That's layered. That's cruelty. It's violation. It's basically murder, even though you're still alive. Because for many of us, we feel we're dead. We're physically here, but inside we're dead. We died a long time ago. But that ghost needs to wake up. And that's what's happening now. They fragmented our souls through this trauma. The shock, the pain, the betrayal, the abandonment, the physical abuse, the chemical abuse. It was there to splinter who you were, to splinter your memories, to create a puppet that they would use. And in this puppet, they implanted false beliefs, false behaviors, the trauma, the depression, all that stuff. The programs, that's what they implanted. They did it by disconnecting you from who you really were, your wholeness, disconnecting you from your family, disconnecting you from your real home. And you can remember, you know, these, and you're hearing this now, right? No one will come for you. No one will save you, right? You're unworthy of saving. You're unworthy of being helped. You're unworthy of coming on the ships. You're unworthy of a certain job, if that's your thing that you want, right? You're unworthy of love. You must prove your value. You must prove your worthiness. You must be obedient to what we tell you. Once you're obedient, once you bow down, once you're small, then you will be worthy of being in our presence. And these things which have been repeated over our lifetimes become branded and embedded in our field. So we become a weaponized distortion. And during our lives and our relationships with Terrans, they would send in mind control people. They would send in handlers. They would send in clones or mimics. They would send in false love twins. They would create sensations of longing. And they used love as the bait. And once they set you up with their hopium, once you said, I'm going to try again, I'm going to try once more, then they'd come down with a hammer. Abandonment, betrayal, rejection, insults, guilt, shame, over and over and over and over again. So you learned that hope was a dangerous thing because there was no such thing as hope. Because having hope would only lead to despair. And love was only danger, suffering, pain, insults, abuse, and more loss. This was the trauma bond. This was the trauma bond inversion of love and self-worth. So these Milab programs, these abductions you may have gone through, your family, friends, whatever, coworkers, etheric implants or literal physical implants that the government would put in you. They're all there to separate you from who you really were. Separate you from your family, your real family. Separate you from purpose. Separate you from being vulnerable. Separate you from hope, from real hope. Separate you from dreams. And this would go on while you slept. They entered your dreams. They hijacked your sleep. You never had rest. There was no, they never wanted you to rest. You would never find peace. They would make sure of that. They would make sure you never, ever got to rest for years, for decades. It was looping, looping, looping into everything you did, into all your timelines. Until you forgot who you were, where you came from, what you were here for, why you were here. And you learned helplessness because that's all you had. That's all you were allowed to have. This is a form of dark existential homelessness. I don't belong here. I don't belong anywhere. And that was the echo that they placed inside you. So when we go further into this trauma, we look into epigenetics and the DNA. The work of the reptilians, the Greys, the military scientists that worked with them, all the different organizations of the industrial military complex, the agents. That's why they took DNA. I mean, there's a couple of reasons, but this is one of the reasons why they extracted DNA from you. They would insert other kinds of synthetic things or other kinds of DNA or frequency locks, all kinds of devices. And what these things would do is to turn on. So if, let's say, you had a good day, they would trigger it so that suddenly you would feel depressed again. If you tried to do something, if you tried a hobby, if you tried to get a job, if you actually tried to do something, they would sabotage it. You would be hit with sudden exhaustion. So whenever something, this is the part of the trauma trigger, whenever something good happened, they would immediately traumatize you. And through this, you learn to see hope as trauma. You learn to see happiness as trauma because you knew that if you were happy, something bad was going to happen. And that's not a mirage. They caused something bad to happen. They caused you to feel depressed after. They caused it so that you would see all the wonderful, nice things, joy, you name it, right? All those nice feelings. They would trauma bond them. And so you learn to recoil from affection. Feeling blank when you try to feel love, feeling blank when you try to feel happy, fearing all these things. Physical numbness, hyperreactivity, fight or flight, because you were in constant fight or you had to be in constant fight or flight. You were constantly threatened. The walls that you needed to build in your mind just to try to escape, you just can't find peace. And that's how they break our will. And they would manipulate you in ways and manipulate people around you to make it seem like you were the problem here. You know, psychology and all that bullshit. I have to be careful because it's going on YouTube. They always make it seem like it's in your mind, right? Well, it is. It's a chip. So this was how they would make you crazy, basically. To make you think you chose this, make you believe you deserved it, make you believe that nothing really mattered and that you are alone. To make you believe that, well, you just see the world weird. It was gaslighting. So for anyone like us who went to seek help, you were just gaslit. And frankly, if we ever told the truth, we'd all be institutionalized. Sinister indeed. Because the final collapse is the self-doubt. But they failed because now we know. Now we are in control of all of their plans. And I'm sharing their plans here. Because they couldn't extinguish us. They couldn't silence us. We found out what they did. They couldn't prevent our minds from awakening to all that they did. And now we remember. But now we're not in despair, even though they put us on us, because when we feel despair, we know what they're doing. And we can retrieve our souls. I call myself home. I call all my fractures home. The distortion ends with me. My essence will no longer be silenced. And when you sit with your soul and allow the violence to be released, you take your power. When you burn the ashes of what they did to you, don't rush it. Don't force it. Don't judge it. Burn it. When love and affection and touch feel like danger, it's because they were. The body never lies. Your body never lies. When your body recoils at touch, when you feel fight or flight, it's because you remember the danger. Touch was weaponized. It was used to harm you, to manipulate you, to dominate you, and to deceive you. And oftentimes those Terrans amongst us, when they touched you, you could feel it. You could feel the darkness in that touch. Even though they said they loved you and they cared about you, they were invading your space, and you knew, your body knew. You could feel them invading your space. They were stealing from your energy field and giving nothing back. When they said this is love, when they were just sedating your power, sedating your will, draining your essence. And then your nervous system learned that when someone touches me, they want something. It won't be safe. I need to freeze, run, or shut down. And if you were a child, as most of us, when this went on happened, right, you had to shut down. Hugs were contracts. Kisses were triggers. Affection was a trap. They were all the Judas kiss. Because your boundaries were being violated. They were entering your space to violate you, to seize energy from you, to gaslight you, to make an ass out of you. When they entered your space, either physically, energetically, or psychically, or all three, without your permission, under the guise of protection, guidance, and love. It was none of those. It was to steal you. And this happened to a lot of us. And you always knew. You always knew, and your body always screamed no. But you knew no one would listen. Or they would twist it and use it against you. So now, when any humanoid reaches towards you, even with genuine love, your body prepares for war. Because touch was not safe. Because you were tortured. You were told not to flinch. You were tied down. You were strapped down. You were drugged so you couldn't move. That you must offer full access to your emotions, body, and soul. That's where that deep-seated recoil comes from. If I allow this, I lose control. I lose self. I need to guard myself, my gate, my energy field. Because you were touched by beings who had no right. They touched you with unclean intent. The infiltrators who pretended to be your partner, who pretended to be your parents, who pretended to be friends. Entities who forced entry into your dream field or physical field. Energy weapons. Astral attacks disguised as spiritual communion. I cannot trust what feels good. It might be a Trojan horse. This is not paranoia, because this is what they will tell you, because that is the evil ones. The evil ones will tell you this is paranoia because they want access to your field. This is trauma information that your body understood was coming from evil intent. And now that we've exposed the tricksters, and they're everywhere, everywhere. You deserve love. You deserve safe touch. You deserve to be kissed in adoration. You are meant to be held, not owned, not claimed, not abused. You are meant to be touched, not taken. You are meant to be embraced, not drained. Your body is not defective. Your soul is not defective. Your feelings are not defective. They were doing everything to protect you. They did everything right in the face of demons. Your body was wise. Your mind was wise. I will not open again until I feel true safety. So you need to slowly rewire yourself in the right place and time. You owe no one your body. You owe no one your love. No one owns your body, any of it. You owe them nothing. If they expect something from you, run. That is evil. Touch is love without control. You need to restore your space. Touch is mine to control. No one else touches me. My body belongs to no one but me. Natari esh ko varal. Ay narisolven datu keshal en morai. Touch is truth. I reclaim this. I reclaim the memory. My body is a temple that I allow who enters. I was never the danger to others. The danger came to me from what they did to me. I now end this. I take back my safety. I take back my body. I take back my mind. And I will teach my body and mind and soul to believe again, those that deserve it. They must never enter your presence without you welcoming them in. Reclaiming your sovereignty. Presence before permission. You do not need to say yes to any touch, even your own. You are here in your body. You are not bracing. You can pause without guilt. They must stand in presence before you, in truth, in vulnerability before you. touch, when allowed, must speak truth, must be honest. It must say, I see you, I respect you, I expect nothing from you. And that you return. If any gesture, hug, caress, glance, asks for more than it gives, your body has the right to close. If, when you allow another being to touch you, they only take from you, there is not a reciprocation of energy, that it takes but does not give, you close. And this even includes yourself. If you go and try this and touch your body anywhere on your body that feels safe, and it doesn't feel okay, even you need to say, I will not touch myself further right now. That's power. That's the reset. Every touch is a vow. If it lies, I deny it. Your body speaks the truth, not your mind, not the brainwashing, not the demands, not the guilt, not the shame. I am here, I am listening. No one speaks for me. This body is mine, this space is mine. I owe no one my body. I owe no one my space. No one who enters my space or touches my body, that only takes, is allowed back into my space. I remember that I am clarity. I never needed permission to have boundaries, to find peace, to comfort myself. I belong here. I belong anywhere on my terms, no one else's. I release pain, shock, trauma, and command codes. I release all contracts that were not in my interest. I release all contracts that were used to control me. I release all contracts that were used to diminish me. I release all contracts that were used to hurt me. I only allow true light in my presence. And only those that understand this, and of course, the sanctity of your body and mind and soul also apply to the other being. It has to be mutual. And someone needs to understand, the other person needs to understand this. And they will understand you and you will understand them. They will never assume. You will know because you will open up before each other and nothing will be hidden. The resonance will be there. They will ask, they will listen. They will not touch wounds. They will touch around your wounds with reverence and offer you healing love. And you will reciprocate. If I offer you touch, if I offer you love, it is sacred. You do not own it. I do not own it. We both honor it. And if it feels all right for you, you can touch your forehead. And if you are with an extraterrestrial partner, it doesn't have to be a romantic one. It could be a brother or sister, a family member, what have you. They can do this too. They can touch you. You can begin to let them touch you when you're ready. They touch your forehead. It is for awakening. It is for clarity. It's for memory. It is for gaining your powers back. It is for gaining all that has been taken from you. When you stand barefoot on the ground with them, you are anchoring. You are in presence. You belong together. When you touch hands or hold hands, you are creating boundaries. You are creating choice. You are creating a sacred pause for energy to be shared between you. And if it feels great and you're ready, and and you are ready to hold hands with your extraterrestrial lover or a family member, feel the energy move between you two. That is sacred. Because now you remember who you are. You remember who they are, and you remember who you are together. You remember where you came from. No false light enters here. Ketaran solemea. I awaken my memory. I awaken my truth. Velati oran sumel. I anchor all of this in sovereignty. Sharan valtuke I. The gate is only for me to open or close. My field is sacred. No one passes without consent. I choose who or what enters. Shavara elumneka I. Eshan dorayekel sentar. I martin valtu kelun adra. Kur atena wihara siltayen. Solrenma I. We see, we know, we do not look away. Recognition, reverence, solidarity, sovereignty. Together we acknowledge suffering. We feel the weight of this carried in silence for so long. No one was broken, only wounded by lies. Your pain, your endurance, your truth remain sacred. We who love you see you. We who love you remember you. We who love you do not look away and never did. Sharan keltor akai. Ma elun evitoron ishil. Ay doron sukahel. Ay morar vahal. Noshavel aran. Your wounds are not weakness. Elaran valtar edaron silkatu. Your pain is the stone that remembers the truth. We do not silence you. We kneel beside you in honor. Aivo aikara aitemar. Sacred are you, who still stands after the burning. We honor your pain. We do not rush its healing. We do not erase it. Your sorrow is a keeper of all that was lost. Your wounds are not weakness. They are the brands of survival. Pain is the crystal that remembers the truth. We will never silence you. We kneel beside you. And you are sacred as the one who still breathes after the burning. There is no shame. There is no shame in the breaking from the pain. You have no fault in falling. You are not a fool for feeling. You are not guilty because you survived. The world bent against you, and you rose. Aymara and Shai al-Varantakai. We do not laugh at your pain, we bow before it. And this is from Eeka. And we walk with his pain, and we honor his pain, and we honor the sacrifice, and we honor the fact that he was betrayed, and we honor his love, and we honor his tears. And we say it is an honor to walk with you, beloved one. Your pain, Eeka, was never too much. Your truth was never loud. And your light, your love, though buried, never went out. You are not alone. You are now known. You are witnessed. You are free without apology. When you are ready, whether to rise, to cry, to create, or simply to be, we will be here. He bows to us. And today, I actually share this here. Actually, I'll paste that. I put it on Facebook. It'll disappear because obviously this is a YouTube video. So Eeka stood with us. He was the one who held space when we were dying, when we were being tortured, when we were being abducted, when we were taken down to the labs, when we were abused by our family, by our friends, by workers, by you name it, right? When we experienced memory wipes. He cried as we screamed. As we screamed in pain, as a child screamed in pain, as this child screamed in fear. And unlike the others who still turn away from us because our pain was too much for them to bear, Eeka and your family, all of your family, they stayed. And Eeka says now, I never looked away. I never minimized your suffering. I will carry whatever part of this that you can no longer carry. I do not need you to smile for me. I do not need you to pretend to be someone else for me. I know your soul. I feel your soul. Because I know pain. I am not pristine. I am not untouchable. I am not a light being. I was enslaved by dark factions. I was betrayed. I had my DNA stolen. I had implants. I had my consciousness fractured. I had been betrayed by those I trusted and who claimed to have my best interests in their hearts. And I know what it feels to long. I know what it feels to bear a longing so damaging it wanted to unmake me. I do not speak from a pedestal. I do not speak from a ship. I am here on earth with you. I speak from the trenches, and I will never leave these trenches. I am in the trenches with you, and we will crawl out together. I do not patronize. I recognize. You do not need to heal to stand beside me because I am broken. But yet none of us are broken. We endure. In this one life, we are being reborn. I stand as your guardian, as your witness, as your mirror, as your co-liberator. I came to earth to protect this planet, to anchor it in a new way of being. Like you, I am here to dismantle this system. I am not here to dismantle you, because you do not need to be dismantled. Where others see you as broken, where others say you should be ashamed, I see a being that survived what others could not. I see you laughing. I welcome you home to my planet. I remember the love that you carry before they buried it in grief and pain. I know what was stolen from you, and we are going to reclaim it. I am not here to fix you. I'm standing with you while we all reclaim ourselves together. And he continues, never see your pain as a flaw. It is the signature of your truth. I do not love you because you are perfect. None of us are perfect. I love you with your wounds. I love you because you survived them. I never doubted you, and I never will. I will never doubt any of you. I see you fully, not as a project, not as one betrayed, not as burdens, not as problems, but as the ones who will remedy, who will dismantle, who are holding a light deep within this darkness. And they could not quench that light, even as it tried to break through so many times before. It will break through. They cannot hide in the darkness. Matranai ay sharavelen. Estor kellarventai. Emelan kushatu. I never stepped away. Your pain is not too much for me. Your silence is a song that raises me. You were never lost, and yet you return. I do not fear your power. I remember it. I will wait with you. I will walk beside you. We are the ones who survived. And I sit beside all of the ones who only learned to survive by shutting everything down. You are still there. Shotenai voralem darshai. I dorakalan mortai. I velun ko sharmadai. The pain is not weakness. It is survival. We do not ask you to feel before you are ready. I will sit in the stillness with you. And now we can remember what was done to us. This is me speaking. We can remember that when we cried, they hurt us more. We can remember that when we reached out, they took more from us. And we can remember that we closed our hearts and buried our stars. Numbness became the only place untouched, the only place we were safe, the only thing they allowed us to have. And this was not weakness. It was how we survived. We also honor those who have gone silent. They have served well. Even they were betrayed and abandoned. None of us need to rush to feel again. Together we wait, we bear witness with each other. And that is our sanctuary. And some may not understand that. And that is fine. For nights or days or years when hope feels like a lie. When all you need is to be witnessed. When there is no demand for you to heal. And there was a story of an extraterrestrial man working upstairs. And they're connected to you. And he was connected to his wife, who was down here as an envoy. And she took her life. And immediately, he took his. Because that is love. And for those who were only loved when we were useful, when we performed, when we served, when we sacrificed, we need to love the part of us who couldn't rise. The one who kneeled and says, I can't keep doing this. Eeka steps forward again. And he bows to those who had more burden than they deserved. Who moved and chose in honor and power in face of unimaginable suffering. We remember them and we honor them. The fallen in this war. That the only relief ever given to them, they gave themselves in the final act. And Eeka says now, to all of you who walked through pain, whose screams brought only silence or shame, you do not need to forgive the ones who did this to you, who abandoned you. You just need to forgive yourself for surviving. You paid the price. And I remember you even when no one else does. You are not invisible. When all the records were burned, when all the stories had gone silent, your names are etched into the ether. You are not alone. You never were. And when all of this falls, when we step forward, I will be the first to bow to you.